Welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast with your hosts, Kathy Gruver and Terrie Huberman.
Well, hello there and welcome to the Intentional Awakening Podcast. I'm Terrie Huberman.
And I am your co-host, Kathy Gruver, and we are going to start this episode as we do every episode with an angel card. That one looks pretty good. Oh.
Uh-oh.
I don't know how I feel about this one.
Oh no, we're getting called out by the universe.
Obedience.
Oh boy.
What part of you is in charge? Be mindful of your inner knowing. Follow your deepest impulse with discipline and decisiveness.
Yeah.
And it's an angel. It's an angel on a motorcycle running a red light.
What the what? Images of all images.
But it's not in a leather jacket. It's in a little angel outfit, but it's like running a red light. So it's like it's a badass angel though.
Oh my God. Oh
Obedience. Boy. So Terrie and I were talking before. Who am I speaking to? Terrie and I were talking before we got on, and I have a really lovely quote that goes with our topic today. So I'm going to read the quote and then we will discuss. The quote is, "The universe is putting forth maximal effort to create this moment. Why would you want to change that?" And it was worthy of writing down when I read it, because I teach presence and I talk all the time about presence, and I do my best to stay present, as I know probably most of our listeners do, which is why you guys are here. So we were going to talk today about presence and honing presence and how to be and stay more present.
Yes. And this is a hard one. This is probably one of the biggest lessons of being human, if you ask me, because, oh God, how do I want to say this? So there's a lot of bad rap on the ego, right? Like, oh, stay away from your ego, blah, 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 blah. But we need our ego. It's the ego that kind of entangles us with all the stories and narratives, which take us away from being present in the now moment. And so that is the human experience, though, is to always come back to the now moment. And I mean, it's so difficult for me to even use human words at times, because it's more of like a sensation, a feeling, an experience. And on some level knowledge, because I don't want to say I know everything, and the more I study and the more I participate in life, the less I actually know. So that's why it's hard to articulate and put human words to this. But I think one of the biggest lessons or reasons, I don't know that I would say reason. Again, I just don't have the words, of being human is to constantly be present. This is hard, Kathy. You want to jump? Because there's so much that I want to say and so much that I want to share based on my experience, right? But where do we start?
Well, let me jump in. So, because this all just sort of downloaded to me. Thought is the enemy of presence.
Yes and no, though.
Well, hang on. Thought is the enemy of awakening, because we get lost in these thought forms. We get lost in this story we're telling ourselves that, especially if it's about the past or the present, the past or the future, it doesn't even exist, right? And one of my spiritual teachers asked the question, if you're not thinking about the past or the future, where is it? It's only here.
Right.
The past you is not here. The future you is not here. And we spend so much time worrying about, fretting about, thinking about, planning for, that we lose this moment, and this is all we have. And
You're
it
right.
goes back to the Eckhart Tolle, might have been Eckhart Tolle that said that. It goes back to the Eckhart Tolle story of when he lived in Ireland, he lived above a pub, and every morning he'd go down to the pub and he'd sit there and, have his coffee and do his writing. And there was a sign on the door that said, free beer tomorrow.
Mhm.
And every day, inevitably, somebody would come in and go, I'm here for my free beer. I was here yesterday. And they go, okay, tomorrow. And he goes, no, but I was here yesterday. And he's like, yeah, but now it's today. You'll have to go back tomorrow. And Eckhart was surprised at how many people actually came back 2 days in a row thinking that there was a tomorrow.
Mhm.
We can plan
Mm.
and we can problem solve. But to me, getting lost in those thought forms is detrimental because it not only pulls us out of the present moment, it typically creates stress and suffering.
I see that and I experience that and I know that. And there's a level of truth to that. But when you're talking about it, it's interesting because something's coming up in me is that there's also the polarity to that, which is
Also,
without the thought and the thinking, we can't evolve out of it. So it causes the suffering, but we need to get ourselves out of the suffering, which is when we become present to understand that those narratives aren't true. So on some level,
right.
we actually need the thought.
I don't think we can think our way out of suffering. I think that's how many
No,
times
no,
I
I
say
think
think.
you're right. Using the word think.
Yeah.
You're right. We can't think our way out of suffering, but we need to have the think to get ourselves out of suffering.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I don't know that that's true the way it feels to me. Because all the work I've done on awakening, whether it's been Adyashanti or Eckhart Tolle or whoever it is, it's talking about us grabbing on and identifying with those thoughts that pulls us out of this present moment.
Yeah, but
Because
we
if
have to have those thoughts to get out of the present moment, right? I mean, to get into the present moment.
no,
You don't think so?
uh-uh.
But see, isn't that the evolution process?
Well, but to me, I mean, like when let's say I'm meditating or just being through the course of my day and I shut off all my thoughts, there's nothing left but pure experience of this moment. My senses,
Right.
the
Right.
feelings, the whatever's right in front of me. It's
Yeah.
not colored with, oh, well, that's stupid, or oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, or
Right.
oh, I wonder what they're thinking of me, or blah, 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 blah. So I think all of that junk colors the present moment and we identify with that thought.
Right.
Right. So just because I'm holding this pen doesn't mean I'm a pen.
Right.
So just because I'm
Exactly.
holding the thought that I'm an asshole doesn't mean I'm an asshole.
Right.
I can put this thought down and pick up a different thought if we're working with thoughts.
Right.
We're supposed to be talking about presence, and now we're talking about
I
thought,
know.
which is
Isn't that
fine.
funny how
This is
that
how it
came about?
evolves.
But I think there's a part of that or I think there's a link or a
Oh,
connection
sure.
to that. Because when I teach about presence, I teach from an energetic perspective, which is when you have a thought, there's a certain vibration that's connected to the thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're vibrating energetically at a certain point. So what we want to do, if we want to change the thought to become more present, which is ideally the human experience, right? If we're thinking, we have to have that thought first to change. So that means we are at a vibrational frequency in that now moment. I talk about
Right.
I talk about space and time in moments, and that's how when I'm teaching, I teach about the present being a now moment, because here comes
Hmm.
another moment. Wait,
Right.
here's another now moment. So when we first started recording, it was the past. Now we're in this now moment. We have no idea what's going to be happening, which is the future, which is emotional time travel. I call it emotional time travel.
Mm.
But when you're in the present now moment, you're technically, now whether we can get ourselves there, that's a whole other story, but we're no body, in no time, in no space, in no place, anything like that, right? Which means we have dissipated that energetic vibration, which means it goes away. Does that make sense? So we have a thought, we're in a vibration, right? And, because that's probably the connector word that I'm leaving out. And maybe I'm unhappy right now in this present moment. It's not true, but I'm just saying, and I'm unhappy, right? In the present now moment. And I can also be hungry at the same time. And
But there's a difference between hunger, which is an innate, we were born with it, we didn't have to learn it, driving urge,
it's a
and
physical.
I'm unhappy, which I guarantee you is linked to a thought about something.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Like
Yeah.
you can't, absolutely. It is that energetic frequency. It's like how the molecules and subatomic particles of us
Right.
are vibrating in a certain form, right? But you can be angry and optimistic about something at the same time,
Sure.
right? That is presence because you're anding both. It's not an or. Does that make sense?
Yes. It's interesting because when you said, we dissipate everything.
Well, when I say dissipate, it's the energetic frequency.
No, I know, but you're kind of talking about everything, us becoming nothing, and I'm talking about us becoming everything.
Right,
The
right.
I amness of I am you and I am this. There's no duality anymore. There
Right.
isn't an over there. Everything
Correct.
is just where it is.
This now moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. See, and this is a good example, I think, of how people can be saying the same thing, but based on, and this is really important for anybody listening, super, super important, because it's definitely been my experience. I'm confident it's been your experience too, is that there's so many spiritual teachers who are out there that have the same message.
Yeah.
But based on their wisdom, which is knowledge and experience, they're giving you their wisdom based on their personal experience, right? So that is a reason why you can hear some, you hear like a quote or whatever from one person and it just kind of goes through your head. And then years later, you hear the same damn quote
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my God, and your world opens up. Well, it's probably you're more present than you were before.
Yep.
There's divine orchestration, there's divine timing. You couldn't listen to it before. And also, energetically, because energy influences energy, you're being influenced energetically by that person's wisdom.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
So this is like this is a great conversation because this is the exact circumstance of, I think it's the reason why you should be learning from different teachers.
Yep.
That's my argument. I know one of my spiritual teachers is like, don't be studying any other, while you're doing this, which on some level I can actually understand. But I think because we hear different things from different people at different times, and that's
Yep.
a very present, that's a very present moment.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting talking about teachers. I found that mine have unfolded in a really specific order.
Yes.
Like when I not finish with one teacher, but when I finish a program, the next one appears. Oh, and speaking of appearing, my cat is here.
Okay.
Hi, Alistair. So just one of the ways I like to test, and as we're nearing our end, meditation to me is one of the things that helps hone presence.
Sure.
I love cones. I love asking those questions that are unanswerable because it shuts your thinking off.
Yes.
So one of my favorite, if you're not thinking about the past or the future, where is it? Is one of them, because if you sit with that for a second, your thoughts dissipate and you just drop into this emptiness. The other one I really, really like is, what did your face look like before your parents were born?
Those are so great because they bypass the critical factor, It's so funny because I would add on to that, if you and life instead of or life, that brings you into the presence because you start working with different levels of truth, right? So, and that's kind of like an everything thing where all the exercises you were giving, which are fantastic, are kind of like the nothing.
Yeah.
And so we just switched. Isn't that
Oh God.
No, this is spirituality.
I know. I think where's the woo meter on this one?
The meter on this one has got to be off the charts.
I know.
Woo!
Woo!
Easy, but yeah, very cool.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow, that was awesome. Okay, I love this episode. All right, and on that, since we just hit the 15-minute mark, we should be
Yes.
obedient to our time.
Obedience. Namaste.
Namaste. And our little rebellious angel. Okay, I am
Yes.
Kathy Gruver. I can be reached at kathygruver.coach.
And I'm Terrie Huberman. You can reach me at terriehuberman.com. Thank you so much for joining us in this episode, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Intentional Awakening podcast.